Hi, I'm Dr. Fauley. This is Care Animal Clinic, and I was going to go over a couple things with you about heartworm testing, which is normally done in the springtime when the mosquitoes start coming out, because that's how you get heartworm disease. This is my dog Harley. He's a 6-year-old golden retriever, and he gets tested every year for heartworm disease. It's a little blood test that you do. It doesn't. They rarely are disturbed by it. We put a little tourniquet on their leg, and if anyone's had this done before, it probably sounds familiar. It's a little tourniquet on their leg, and you take like an insulin needle, so they don't even really feel it, and you just draw a few drops of blood out. Then at that point, what we're checking for is it's the antibodies against the worms that are infected, that are living inside the dog's heart. So it's a big deal if they get it. It's easy to prevent. It's a once-a-month chewable treat. I'll mention that in a second. Once-a-month chewable treat that you give to them during the mosquito season. Now, a lot of times people might do it year-round because it covers other types of worms also. But so we'd go ahead and put a tourniquet on. You draw out a little bit of blood, a few drops of blood, and then they just go home. There's a little test kit that we have here. It takes about 15 minutes to get the results. Oftentimes, by the time that people are checking out, we're having the results of it, and we will know whether it's positive or negative. As long as it's negative, then you can go ahead and put them on the heartworm pills during the mosquito season. So it doesn't bother them very much. Like I said, this is my dog Harley. He's 6 years old, and he's never had it. He's been on his heartworm pills, and we've never had any trouble with them. There's a couple different kinds that are out. The worms that are typically used, the medication that's typically used is used to treat the heartworms, but also a number of different intestinal parasites that dogs can also get from whatever they're doing outside. If they're, even in the wintertime, if they're out there eating whatever they find off the ground, especially frozen things, they can still get intestinal parasites. No, they won't get the heartworms, but they will get intestinal worms. So the kinds of heartworm medication we use here is there's Iverheart, which is a generic type of Heartgard. Heartgard is the name brand. Iverheart, TriHeart, there's a few other ones that are the generic versions of it, and they all do the same thing. They protect against the heartworms, which is the big deal ones, and then they also protect against intestinal parasites. These are some of the things that they will treat against. Now, these are heartworms. This little diagram here shows the worms that plug up the heart. Those are the heartworms. But it also protects against roundworms. This is an intestinal loop, and roundworms are frequently, those are the most common types of intestinal worms, and they will colonize the intestinal tract and cause diarrhea and debilitation and an unhealthiness. Hookworms also line and invade the intestinal lining, causing bloody diarrhea. And then this is whipworms, which do the same thing. These are just the different types of parasites that they can pick up outside. So this is the type of heartworm. This is the Heartgard that we use. It's Heartgard Plus. Heartgard protects heartworms. That's the ivermectin. Pyrantel is what's used to protect against all these intestinal parasites. So look for one, whether it's Iverheart Plus or Heartgard Plus, that does both intestinal worms as well as heartworms. There's other ones that we have also that also protect against fleas and things like that, but right now we're just kind of focusing on the Heartgard. This is made by Marielle. The important thing here is there's the guarantee on it. On Frontline, which is also made by Marielle, they have the same guarantee applies. There's a gold stamp on it that if it is bought from through the veterinarian, any type of problems that are had with it is covered by the veterinarian. Online pharmacies, it's available online, but if it's not obtained through a authorized reseller, as they call it, that guarantee is not valid. So that's something to consider when you're going to consider either getting them online or not. Normally there isn't any problems with it, but occasionally there can be. And if there does become a problem with a medication, Marielle, the manufacturer, that totally covers any type of complications that might arise from it. Although I haven't had any complications from it, so it's really worked out well. Every year we probably see a couple cases of heartworm. That's a whole different type of a treatment to actually treat a dog that has heartworm disease. the easiest thing is just to prevent it. So it's always a good idea to, at the beginning of the springtime, to get a heartworm test. As long as it's negative, then you can put them on the heartworm pills that help protect against the heartworm disease as well as intestinal parasites.